Hi, my name is Imad Nassar. I'm a structural civil engineer. I have a master's degree in civil engineering from South Dakota State University, and I finished all PhD courses at the University of Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, Canada. I would like to share some of my positive and negative experiences of going abroad and living in a different country and obtaining citizenship from a different country. There are positive aspects and negative aspects for that experience. Let us start with the positive aspects. Having a dual citizenship will actually open so many avenues for you for work and for other things. So it is very useful to get another citizenship if you can. When we're young, we have like enthusiasm and we're very energetic. We have lots of ambitions and would like to improve our life standard and make more money and so on and so forth. And like have more than one or acquire more than one language. So I've gone through all of this. I obtained my master's degree from the States and I finished when I was very young, in 20s, and I worked in the States for some time. I went back home, which is Egypt. I went back home and I worked for a little bit, and then I applied for PhD. I went back, and I went to Canada, and I didn't get my degree. I finished all the coursework. I started on research, but I did not get my degree because I got married. In the meanwhile, I went back home, back and forth. I got married, and after going back to Canada, it was difficult financially to be a student and a family supporter or a family person. So I ended up leaving my education for a while and looked for a job. I found a job and I had immigration at that time in Canada. So I found a job and I started working close to the university in which I was doing my PhD. So, anyways, I ended up quitting the degree, not getting it, and I ended up working, which was easy for me because I had a degree from the States, and my coursework was considered as refresher or refreshing coursework, technical refreshment, technical updates of my knowledge, which qualified me to work in Canada easily, easier than many other immigrants who did not have degrees in North America. So having a degree from the States made my life easy. Having some work experience from USA made it easy for me to get a job in Canada. So I got married and we had two kids, two daughters, and life was okay, was streaming nicely and everything. And then we decided to move from Saskatchewan to BC, Vancouver, British Columbia, because of the weather. Weather in Saskatchewan was extremely harsh, was very difficult, very cold for us and especially for my wife. So we went to Vancouver on a contract, engineering contract, and I started working there. But I found out that the job market in Vancouver is very unstable, or the engineering job market in BC is very unstable, especially for contracting engineers. You get a contract and you're not sure if you're getting extension to a different one, or you're not sure if they will renew it, and the markets go up and down. So I ended up losing the contract. I moved to a different contract and ended up finishing this one and then not getting another one. And I stayed at home for a while, looking for another job or another contract. And I ended up, we went through the recession, so I went back home and I worked for a while in a big contracting company as a site consultant or site senior site engineer. And after the markets picked up in Canada, I went back to Canada with my wife and two daughters. We went back to Vancouver. I got a contract as a lead structural engineer for a big US firm that has work in so many countries in Canada and Europe and in the Middle East and so on. So I worked with them and finished a contract successfully as a lead structural engineer. And then after that, again, I found some issues finding another work. I ended up going to Alberta because the job market there was much better than the job market is in Vancouver. I ended up initially by myself. I worked in Edmonton in several jobs, oil and gas, mining industry for office and site engineering. And initially, my wife did not want to go with me because of the cold and so on. But eventually, we could manage to agree on working on living together. So I brought her and my daughters to Alberta, to Edmonton, and I moved my daughters' school from Vancouver to Edmonton, and things were nice, but. Again with family reunion in Alberta. But after some time, my wife did not like the cold. She wanted to go back, and I ended up leaving the work in Edmonton. I went back to Vancouver to unstable job market. I worked in a contract, and soon enough, I lost the contract. The company did not get extension for the job for the work. They ended up downsizing, so I left that. So I ended up. I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to try something else, maybe consulting. And I got advice from a friend of mine to do teach in colleges or universities because I had my PEng professional engineer license in more than one province, and I finished my master's degree a while ago, and I have refreshing PhD courses. So I was very much qualified to teach in colleges. So I started teaching in colleges, and obviously the income dropped dramatically, maybe 40%, 35 to 40% of how much I was making. This created some issues for the family, and we ended up again knowing some people. Some of them were not very good, like family friends. Some of them were not good-hearted people. They were very bad. One of them was an older person, same age as my wife's mom. So she came to us. She said, "Okay, I'm like your mom. What if you have any issues? Let me know." And she ended up destroying the family thanks to her advice or advices. I ended up losing my family. I went back to Egypt to get married again. I left my daughters, and I haven't seen my daughters for more than 6.5 years. So these are some of the negative things about living abroad, living in North America or living in Canada. The family law is very bad. The family law is not very good. Not good for the family. Just you lose your family like this in seconds. And if your wife goes to the court or a lawyer and says, "Oh, I want to get divorced," even for no reason, the law in Canada or the family law in Canada gives the woman or the wife the privilege or the right to get divorced for no reason, for absolutely no reason. Just shows some intention or interest that she wants to destroy the family or leave the family. So they agree on her, and they ended up giving divorce to her in 1 year. And the lawyer did her best to separate me from my wife. She allowed no communication. She convinced my wife to have no communication, to try to moderate or go back with my family. So I lost my family in Canada for 6.5 years. I haven't seen my daughters for 6.5 years. I went home. I tried to go back again, but I cannot go back without a job because I need to support the family and my wife who is here in Egypt with me. So these are the negative experiences that you could face living in Canada or living in North America or living in the Western Europe. But I will be more specific about North America because I went to Europe for a visit, but I haven't actually lived in Europe. I lived in North America, in the States and Canada. The positive things is you achieve some financial goals, you achieve you end up going through challenges and succeed in overcoming the challenges. But the negative experiences, one of the biggest negative experience is family and family law, how easy you can lose your family. So this is just advice to my younger brothers and sisters, whoever is interested in going to live in Canada or the States or immigrating. Just be careful of the family, watch your family, do not let anybody to go between you or intervene between you and your family. Try to solve all your small issues within your family. If the issues go outside your family, the small issues become big. The grain becomes a small grain becomes a mountain, and you could end up losing your family. So please, please, please be careful and do not go through what I've gone through. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. And if you guys want to get more or know more or get more videos, I could share your experience with me in comments, and I could actually record more videos. Okay, thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Bye. I'm trying to get out of the video. Thank you, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.